Well, Merry Happy Christmas Eve. Uh, I get kind of excited this time of year because I have no chat. I am live, yeah. Live? Yeah, I am live. I don't have a chat window. Um, let's see if I can get. There it is. There it are. I don't know what happened to it, but anyway, I get kind of excited this time of year because I do kind of like Christmas. So, um, I like giving gifts to people and all the hubbub of running around and getting uh, I just the holiday shopping, the hustle and bustle. I don't do a lot of it because as a rule, I don't like crowds, but you have to do some of it to get into the Christmas spirit. So yes, so I was out today uh, doing that, and my grandson has a very, very, very bad cold, which he has passed on to his granny. Of course, he has, because what do grannies do when little ones are sick? They get them right up in their face, and so so he can cough right in my face, just so got the watery eyes, watery nose, and I don't feel bad at this point. And I'm not coughing yet. So, just got the whole waterworks thing going on. So if you see me have to grab a tissue or two, uh, that's what that's about. But he is a pretty sick little boy. He's running a fever, and uh, so he's 4. He's gonna be sick, and then you gotta go through that in order to build your immune system up, right? So it is what it is. But so excuse the watery eyes, and uh, I'll try to keep it at bay with the tissue. Jeff's here. Christmas Eve, we do a hot 3-course meal. Wow. Takes 2 hours to set up, and we also get family photos around the tree. Then Christmas Day is where we have a massive fest and have cold meats, sometimes seafood. Well, that's cool because it's warm there, and I just think that is so cool that's kind of what I thought tonight's show would be about, because there are so many different traditions, uh, and everybody, as a kid, I always thought that how we celebrated Christmas was how everybody else did, and everybody does something different. Uh, my daughter is doing the whole gingerbread house with my grandson. So they build a gingerbread house every year. And so she takes pictures to see how his house looked at 3 and how his house looked at 4. And they will progress as he gets older. So I think that's really cool that she's starting her own traditions. Um, we, when I was a kid, we had a very formal household. And so everyone would gather around and read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And when I was too small to read, my grandmother had that role. And then for some reason it skipped my mom. And when I was old enough to read, it got passed down to me. And so for the next, I don't know how many years, I was in charge of reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." So it's one of those things you have memorized at this point. But I didn't carry that on with my children. We came up with our own traditions, which is funny because traditions are supposed to be something that's passed down from generation to generation. But I think every generation comes up with their own stuff that they do from year to year. So that's kind of cool. Jeff says, "Merry Christmas, Sly. Only 2 sleeps." Wow. In our family tradition, we do 2 Christmases. One on Christmas Eve night, based on my wife, and on the day one for me, in what we did growing up. Yes, when you marry, commingle families, you get the traditions from both sides. So I think that's where you have to come up with your own kind of what works. you take kind of the best from this family and the best from this family and blend them, and you kind of get your own tradition. So that's cool. We started a few years back doing the whole matching pajama thing, and so we take pictures in our pajamas, and you know, it's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun with that. You wouldn't think so, but yeah, it's we just kind of have a big pajama party. Everybody opens gifts, and Sammy's in the house. Hey, Sly. Hey, Sammy. How you doing, bud? I bet you're ready. I bet you are really ready, because I remember it at 18, 19 years old. Uh, Christmas was still like, I didn't have kids yet, so it was still all about me. I want to talk about me. Yeah. So when you have your own kids, it becomes about them. But until then, it's all about you. And there's Jim. Merry Christmas, Sly. Jim, man, you've got, congratulations, first of all. You've got to send me an address where I can mail that backpack to, because you are the winner. So I sent you an email, and then I got to thinking about it when I didn't hear back, and I'm thinking maybe that wasn't a good email because it was several months old. So Jim, please reach out. Email should be in the description. If it's not, slyreader@mail.com. And let me know your address. The other one has already been sent out. The guys already got it. So let me know where to send this thing. And there is Lewis. How you doing, bud? Merry Christmas, everyone. Love you, Sly. Yay, yay, yay. Yes. So Lewis still doesn't have children, so it's still all about him. Actually, he posted a fantastic video of his grandmother with him. And you know, when you're elderly and you have to sit in a chair all day and you can't really get up and move very much, I know one of the things they had us do with my mom when she got where she wasn't as ambulatory as she used to be, is they would have us do like dancing in the chair. So she'd sit in the chair, but she'd get those arms moving and get that blood pumping. And he did that with his grandmother, and it brought back so many memories. And I was so glad to see you do that. That was awesome. And Roy is here. Merry pre-Christmas, Sly. Yeah, it's funny because it is pre-Christmas, but having said that, you're pretty much out of shopping days if you're going to try to get anything shipped to you. So, in fact, there is a something on Santa's sleigh that was supposed to have been delivered today that it won't give me a date now, because it said it was going to be delivered 12/22. It didn't make it, obviously. And so now it won't give me a date. So it is what it is. Thankfully, you know, it's for an adult, so not a big deal if it gets there on the 26th. But you kind of want everything to be there by Christmas. You know, it's kind of a thing. Roy says, Aussie do love their Christmas barbecue, often on the beach. Yeah, you guys are like surrounded by a beach. Well, I guess, because, see, I'm like in almost the center of the United States. Not quite. I'm not far enough north to be considered the true center, but it's like 1,000 miles either direction to get to an ocean. So, and y'all have told me that Australia is about as big as the United States. So, if you're in the center of Australia, you're probably not too close to a beach. Peter says, hi, Sly, feel better fast. Oh, it's just, you know, it's just a winter cold. It'll be all right. And he's saying Merry Christmas to everyone. And 5 drops 3 times a day. Yeah, I've been out of that for a little bit. So, need to get on the ball and reorder some. I think it said it, or maybe I did order and it'll be here like next week or something. I don't remember. But anyway, I'm out, so maybe I did order that and it'll be here Wednesday. I think something's coming Wednesday. I don't really remember. I need to look. I order way too much stuff off Amazon. But I have been very blessed this year in that I've been getting quite a few gift cards already. So uh, thank you, everybody. It just kind of blows me away. Peter says, "Of you know what?" Yes, he's talking about oil of oregano, um, which I usually put in my eggs, and yeah, it's a little bitty bottle. It costs like $30, but it lasts forever. And I've been out, so it's all good. Sammy says, congrats since you're about to hit 500, right? I'm thinking by Christmas Day we will be there. So that's a really, what more of a Christmas present could I ask for? I mean, that is so cool. I never, ever, ever, ever thought that would come to fruition because I'm just amazed. I do have a new bag, but I couldn't resist. Lewis says, congrats, Jim. Yes, Jim won the backpack, and I don't know where to send it. So, Peter's saying, congrats, Jim. Sammy's congratulating Jim. Peter says, wow, that's awesome. Jim is the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes, he is. Jim, everybody's congratulating you, bud. I need an address. Lewis says, Sly, we are practicing for her performance. I can't wait to show you her Christmas dance. Oh, that is so awesome. That is so, so awesome. And it's so good for her. It gets, that even if you're sitting down, if you're moving those arms, you're getting that blood pumping. And man, sometimes that's all they need. That's all they need. And she looks so happy. So, yeah, keep up the good work, young man. Sly, is Amazon the new Santa XD in 2023? Well, it's funny because they have changed their icon. You know how when they're 10 stops away, it shows a little Amazon truck? Well, now it's a little Santa sleigh. So, that's kind of cool. But, in the past, I have had packages disappear off my porch really, really quickly. So when they brought the last of the gifts yesterday, I think, man, I'm watching that little sleigh and I'm trying to get home, and they beat me by about 10 minutes, but they did bring them all the way up on the porch, and so they were still here when I got home. So, way to go, Amazon. You're improving. Shane, bud, how you doing? Welcome. It's always Christmas at Peter Gregg's place, even in June when I visited. Yes, it is. Peter loves, loves, loves Christmas. I do too. I also like all the other St. Patty's Day and the fireworks at 4th of July, and the whole calendar, right? It's just and Peter was talking about it feels like the years are going by faster. Somebody explained to me why that is, and it really made sense. So if you take a pie, and my grandson is 4, and you cut that pie into 4 pieces, each piece is really big, right? And so for him, a year feels like a really, really long time. But if you're 60 and you cut that pie into 60 pieces, those pieces are really, really small. So for you, a year feels like it goes by a whole lot faster. And when they made that analogy, I was like, I totally get it. Because, yes, at 10 years old, I remember just feeling like time would drag forever. Of course, you also have you're not as patient as you are as you get older. And so things that, you want your birthday to hurry up and get here. You want Christmas to hurry up and get here. And as you get older, it's you kind of get to sit back and enjoy Christmas coming and your birthday coming. And so there is that. But that really put it in perspective that I have 60 pieces of pie where he only has 4. So for him, time does drag a lot slower. Roy says most Aussies live near the coast. We love beaches. Yeah, the more the more you and Jeff talk about Australia, the more I think I'm gonna have to. I mean, it's like totally on the other side of the world, but people go to China and it's on the other side of the world. So, it's funny. When I was a kid, we used to try to dig to China. We never tried to dig to Australia. Yeah. Sorry, Australia. You kind of got the short end of the stick on that deal. Uh, Jeff says, yes, I agree with Roy. We love the beach and Aussie barbecue on the Gold Coast on Boxing Day. Yeah, see, in United States, they don't even celebrate Boxing Day, which I think is. I was thinking about that today. Why not? Most of us have come from Europe, where they celebrate Boxing Day. How did we lose that? Because the day after Christmas, you see all the trash containers and everything else filled to the brim with boxes. So I don't know why we don't celebrate it. Jim says, thanks y'all sent. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I will get that. It will probably honestly be Tuesday now, before I get back to the post office. But it wouldn't get there in time for Christmas anyway at this point. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was exciting, and it was kind of nerve-wracking because I didn't know what I was doing. But it turned out I really had a good time with it. So I can't wait to get to 1,000, and we're gonna do another one. Yeah. Lewis says, "What do you eat on Christmas, Sly? The same thing every time?" No, we don't. So one year, it was just my son and I. This was before my grandson was born, and my daughter lived a couple hours away, and she had come by for the bounty, so to speak, but she only stayed maybe an hour, and then she went back to Oklahoma City. And so it was just he and he lived in this humongous house. We called it a mini mansion with 4 other guys. And everybody had their own room. I mean, this was a huge, huge, huge house. So I had gone up to spend a week with them, and I got to bake, and I got to play, Betty Homemaker, and it was fun. I really enjoyed doing that on a short-term basis. I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but on a short-term basis, it was a lot of fun. So, well, on Christmas Day, everybody went home to eat with their family. So it was just he and I. And I'm like, so what would you like to eat? One of his favorite dishes is, we call it enchiladas, but it's not really. It's more of an enchilado type thing. But anyway, so I made a pan of these enchiladas, and thinking there's always leftovers. Always, always, always leftovers. Well, as we were about to eat, I had just pulled them out of the oven. You have to let them cool for a little bit. One of the other boys walked in, and he had just eaten it with his parents, but he's like, man, something smells good. Would you like a enchilada? Yeah. Okay. And about maybe 5 minutes later, another one of the boys comes home. Long story short, all the boys came home and they all wanted to eat. And we didn't have enough food. Because I made one pan, which is more than enough for 2, but not enough for 5 or 6 people. So one of the boys, I absolutely adore these boys. We're sitting, they didn't really have a dining room table. They just had a bunch of random chairs. So we're sitting in the den, because you have to remember, this is like 5 boys that are like fresh out of college. So they're probably like 22, 23 years old. And so we're sitting all in a circle in the den in separate chairs, because they didn't really have like a couch or anything like that in the den. And everybody's eating on their lap, whatever. and one of the boys glides through the room. Now, I can't see his feet. I can just see him gliding into the room with his plate, eating his enchilada, right? He was skateboarding, longboarding through the house, eating his enchilada. That is one of my favorite all-time favorite. And it was, my son, but it was all his friends that he lived with. So, I laughed so hard, and I think I got like half of an enchilada. So, no, we do not always have the same thing. I think this year the menu is steak, mashed potatoes, corn, green beans, just a typical dinner. Now, Thanksgiving is more regimented as far as, we have the obligatory turkey and all the things that go with that. But Christmas is more laid back. Sometimes it's ham, sometimes it's steak, sometimes it's, it can be whatever. And it kind of depends on how many people we're going to have. Obviously, if you're having 20 people over, you're not going to serve them all filet mignon. If you're having, 4 or 5 people, you might throw on some fillets. So my son is cooking the meat. I think my daughter is cooking everything else, and I'm doing the mashed potatoes. Which reminds me, I did not get the pies today. I'll be at the store tomorrow. Roy says, now I'm hungry too, right? And that is a fantastic thing about this time of year, is that you make a point of seeing your friends, right? I had kind of I call it dinner, where it's in between lunch and dinner, early dinner, late lunch, with one of my besties today. And, I haven't seen her in probably 2 months. We talk on the phone a lot, but we both get so busy that it is hard to meet up and in person. And so we got to enjoy a hamburger and just get caught up. And so I do love that about the Christmas season. Tomorrow I'm going to see some more friends, and it just goes on. So it kind of makes celebrating Christmas a month-long thing instead of just Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for me. So Jim says, Sly wisdom. Life and time is like a pie. Love it. Yep. Jim says to Roy, me too. He's getting hungry too, right? Sly, what is something that we value when we were younger, and now that we're much older is not as important, especially during Christmas season? So, Lewis, I was just thinking about this today. That is so wild that you would ask that question, because, and I was talking to my son about it today. When I was younger, I would worry about things. I had kind of a temper. I let myself get stressed out over very small, insignificant things. And with age, that is pretty much... Now, I'm not saying I don't ever get mad, but it's very, very rare now. I don't let things get to me anymore. So, yeah, I'm totally not... If I could go back and tell my 20-year-old self, take a chill pill more often, I rarely get upset anymore. So that is one of the blessings about being a little bit older, is you kind of just take things in stride. I have to snicker when I have a 24-year-old tell me about how many aches and pains they have. Now, I'm not discounting that they have aches and pains, but they get so much worse as you get older. So every time you think you have an ache or pain, try getting out of bed at 60 or 70 or 80 or your grandma's age. Just the mere fact that she can get up and out of bed, that lady's doing good. So it's all, Lewis, it's all perspective, man. And when you finally figure out the key to not letting things stress you out or other people stress you out, and you just roll with the punches and just let it be, oh my goodness, life is so much more fun. So, yeah, I wish I had known that 40 years ago. Roy says Boxing Day sales in the shops. Uh, since we don't celebrate, here they call them after Christmas sales, right? And sometimes it really, you can kind of get a real feel for the economy, because if a retailer has done well, their after Christmas sales kind of suck, right? If a retailer has not done well, they will try to continue the Black Friday sales after Christmas. And so you can really gauge how the economy is doing by how good the after Christmas sales are, right? If you've noticed, Amazon is already, they're done, right? Prices are back up to normal. They're done. So Amazon has done really well this holiday season. There's other stores like JCPenney's who, man, they are trying to get that market share, and I don't think they've done so well. So, because they're still offering these really, now I know it's not quite Christmas yet, but they're still offering really good deals. So, which brings us to kind of I kind of had we in my family we call it a saminami, um, which is kind of a joke. I'll explain that in a minute, but um, it's like an epiphany, right? If you buy a gift card to a particular merchant, you're stuck with that, having to shop at that merchant. Okay. Uh, I'm not sure how the Visa gift cards, if you can hold on to them indefinitely or whatever, but you do have more flexibility with where you spend. You can spend, if it's $100 gift card, you can spend 20 here and 20 here, and you know. But my daughter had asked for a gift card to a particular store because she wanted a particular pair of pants, or two pair of pants. And I was thinking I could do that. I don't, as a rule, like giving gift cards or money, but this year I haven't really had a choice. That's kind of, I mean, they're getting gifts, but they also are getting some cash, because I didn't want to lock her into that particular store. If you only want two pair of pants from that particular store, what are you going to do with the rest of the money? Just not use it, or. So I went to the bank and I just got them both money, and that way she can spend it how and where she wants to. So yeah, that was just kind of I'm not sure a gift card is a good thing unless it's like a Visa that you can use pretty much anywhere. Lewis says, Sly, Boxing Day is big in Canada. We don't really have Black Friday. Okay. Well, Boxing Day is after the event. So, here in the States, we not only have Black Friday, but they've expanded it to the whole month of November. So, November 1st, the sales start. I typically start shopping in July, which it was funny because I thought I was almost through with wrapping everything. I made a delivery today with, I had to wait until little man went to his dad's, and then I snuck in and I put all the presents around the tree and stuff. But just to make it easier on myself on Christmas Day. And then I came home and I'm like, oh, I forgot to wrap that and that and that. And oh, I bought that back in July. I forgot I even had it, right? So I've still got quite a bit of wrapping to do. Yeah. But, I do this every year. I end up wrapping on Christmas Eve and trying not to get stressed out about it. And I will put on some of Peter's music and just chill. I don't drink, so maybe I should start on Christmas Eve. Roy's talking to Lewis says, Boxing Day is big here too, but Black Friday is starting to infect us. Yes. Any chance the merchants have of getting a sale and calling it something, uh, but you really have to watch things because a lot of times they will mark something up to mark it down to its normal price. So if you haven't been keeping your eye on something, you think, oh, that's $200 off. No, they raised the price $200 so they could bring it back to $200, so it's no price. But so there's that. And Jeff says, yep, Sly, Australia is a must-see. It's a very beautiful country to see. A lot of ways the USA and Australia have a lot in common, besides our accent and slang. You'd be right home here. You know, I have seen probably 90% of the United States over the years. And I have some favorite places. I have some places that, I don't really care too much for. I have been to New York City. Don't like it. Don't care to ever go back. Upstate New York, however, is gorgeous. Massachusetts, that whole area in the fall, autumn, whatever you want to call it, is just absolutely breathtaking. We have the colors change here in Oklahoma, but they're very dull. You get up there and the colors just, as a photographer, oh my gosh, the colors just jump out at you, right? The reds are blazing red. Here it's a dull rust color. So it's just, I don't think I'd want to live where they have snow for months. So I could never live very far north. But I do like my change of seasons. So I don't think I would want to live. I spent one summer in Phoenix, Arizona, or one winter, and I didn't get the winter that year. And for the rest of the year, my body felt out of sync because I had not gone through the 4 seasons. So I guess it's all just what we get used to, right? But yeah, there are some really magical places, like the Grand Canyon is a huge must-see if you ever come to the States. That's very, very impressive. The Yellowstone National Park, very impressive. So there are some places that are that I really like. Miami, when I went to see Peter, a little too populated for me. So, I do like areas that have fewer people. And I think your cities have a lot of people. So I probably wouldn't care anything about going to like the main cities. But the countryside, I would probably love. And Jeff says, I agree with Roy with you regarding Black Friday. Yes. And Jeff says, hey, Lewis in Canada, how do you and your family celebrate Christmas? What things do you do? Yes. And Jeff says, the wife is flat out in the kitchen preparing for our Christmas Eve tomorrow night and for Christmas Day. I love her chocolate-coated rum balls. Ooh. Shortbread and fruitcake. So yummy. Yeah, that is... when the kids were little, I used to bake. I don't really bake anymore. I don't seem to have time. But I made these things I think they were called wedding cookies. And all they were was like a dough, and they had pecans in them. And then you roll them in powdered sugar, confectioner sugar. Oh my gosh. I would literally make myself sick eating those. They are so, so good. That's probably my number 1 favorite. Lewis says, oh no, Sly. The knee is not a spring chicken anymore, Sly. The knee. And speak of, and they show up, right? Uncle G's in the room. Happy Friday. So I don't think I've spilled any beans, but yeah, I don't think I have. Hey bud, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. Which means he must be home. Last time I talked to him, he was still on the road. Roy's talking to Jeff. Says, you trained her well. You know, some women just enjoy baking. I did. I'm not a good cook, and I will never, ever, ever enjoy cooking. But I did enjoy baking. Don't ask me what the difference is, but there is a difference. And, you know, I'm one of those bakers that would have flour in my hair and on my face, and, you know, where you wipe your hands on your butt, you have flour on your butt, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's kind of baker I was. Peter says, I'm laughing and chuckling as you're talking about aches and pains at 24, right? If they only had a clue what it takes to even get out of bed, right? At 70 compared to 24, compared to 18. So when you hear these, and I hear it every night, I hear these young people complain about this hurts or that hurts, or, you know, I'm like, dude, just wait. But beats the alternative, right? Lewis says, Amazon actually raised their prices significantly lately. Yeah, I've had stuff in my cart. You know, I'll see something and I'll add it to the cart and then I'll save it for later. And so every time you go in to buy something, it tells you the price has changed. And they do raise their prices so they can lower them for Black Friday or their after Christmas sale, or, you know, whatever. So you just kind of have to be mindful. They do have some legitimately good buys. I think they notified me that blue charger, which is over there, is actually really on sale right now. So I don't really need a second one, but if I did, now would be a good time to pick it up. So Peter's saying Merry Christmas Eve, Eve, Eve to Grant. Roy says Monopoly money as a gift has the same value everywhere, right? I think that's so cool. Yes, it does. And he's asking if it's snowing in Canada yet. Yes, I believe I did see snow in somebody's video. And they, I believe, in different parts, will have snow now until the spring. So there is a place, there's several places, but there's a place in Alaska, and I believe there's one it's considered Minnesota, that the only time you can build on these islands is in the winter, when the lakes freeze. And you can get semi-trucks. They drive across the ice. The ice is so thick that they can take building materials to these islands, and you build in the wintertime when you can get trucks over there. So otherwise they would have to ferry building materials, and it's just cheaper to wait until winter when the trucks can just drive the stuff over there. So my children went on a mission trip to a little island in Alaska, and they had to be ferried because it wasn't wintertime yet. And the government pays those people to live on that island. So children get so much money, and then the adults get so much money. And they actually live quite well. And the more kids you have, the better you live, because you get more money. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience for them, because it was so different than how we live in Oklahoma. Peter's laughing at Roy. I was looking for a gag gift I could afford. Monopoly money would hit the spot perfectly, right? Lewis says, my favorite part about Christmas is eating all the chocolate from family and friends. So every year, as one of our traditions, I fill the stockings with candy. And occasionally there'll be like a small little gift or something hidden off in there. But it's usually candy. Like Hershey Kisses in the plastic candy cane things, and Reese's Cups, and I don't know what all I put in there. Just random candy, but it's usually some kind of chocolate, right? And so I went over to see my grandson, and I was informed that one of the guests that will be coming can't have chocolate. I've already bought the candy. And yeah, so we're hanging a stocking for them. So I should start making a list, because now I need pies and some kind of candy that's not chocolate. Yeah. Otherwise, all my gift buying is done. I'm done. Yeah. Peter's music is perfect, right? Uh, I didn't go in and take out my normal music, so it's kind of intermixed. I should by now, because Christmas is 3 days away. I should have just put where it would loop on Peter's, but it's kind of all mixed in. So, but yeah, his music is absolutely perfect for any kind of background music, like if you're having a party, or I highly recommend. I I have a CD right over there. I'd have to get up and go get it, but I am old school, where I have a CD player in my PC. I have a CD player in my truck. I just like having the actual CD. I did learn how today to do online banking. So uh, Roy's talking to Peter, saying Monopoly money is very affordable too, right? Lewis, you made it. Hi everyone. Um, so it's just that time of year, and everybody's trying to burn both candles, or burn the candle at both ends. So Lewis has been falling asleep lately. Plus, he's not as old as some of us, but he's getting there. So glad you're here, Lewis. I will try to. I think. Oh no, I won't be home tomorrow night. I am never home on Saturday night. That if sometimes I catch you when I'm driving home, but I don't even think I won't even be home until after midnight. So yeah, but I will catch the replay. I do watch the replay when I get home. Lewis says it's easy to get fooled. They do that a lot. Raise it up, mark it down to a regular price. Yep. Sly, do you like New York City? Absolutely not. Way too many people. Jeff says, yes, Roy, no hope in training me, so someone needs to do it. She's an amazing cook. We're all very spoiled. She is such a wonderful cook. Love the food on Christmas. Yeah, I just like, eating. We have gone through the phase of having, we make this big Christmas croissant ring, which basically you put it on a pizza stone, and it's crescent rolls, and you put like eggs and sausage and cheese and whatever in there, and then you bake it, and it's amazing. And then we would have like appetizers for, like, not really a lunch, but appetizers during the afternoon leading up to the dinner. And what I found was nobody was really eating them because we were so full from breakfast. So we just kind of quit doing that. But I actually have a crock pot that has 3 little crock pots in it. And so we'd have like little smokies, spinach artichoke dip, and queso. And just have something to munch on throughout the day. But yeah, nobody was really eating it. And so it just kind of sat there, and of course I would put it in containers and have it to munch on later. But that's when we still did Christmas at my house. So now that I go and have Christmas elsewhere, uh, we just kind of quit doing that. Sammy says, I'm curious with what SD cards you use. I just spent a couple of bucks on new SD cards, 300 meg, I think megabytes for the FX30. So SD cards, my favorite are the, see if I can show that to you. The Extreme Pro. And the new ones, this is an old one. The new ones, I think that's an old one. The way you can tell, yes. Okay. So one of these is new, one of these is old. And the way you can tell, get those up close and personal to you. Yeah. So see, one is 170 and one is 200. 200 is the new version. So same price, everything's the same. They just made them, I guess, a little bit faster. But I've never had one of these fail me. Now, Mr. Camera Junkie likes the, I believe is it the Lexar, Lewis? I have a bunch of these little SD card holders, and I love them because they just snap in there, and they actually protect your cards pretty well. And which most SD card holders do this. They have underneath. Now for the micro SD, I don't know if I have any in here or not. You know, I could finish one train of thought before I go off on a tangent. But they actually have the little micro SD card holders underneath. And that's what my action cameras use. So, if I can figure out how to put that back in there. And what I do, because, you know, it's kind of hard to, they all look the same. So it's kind of hard to know which ones have stuff on them, which ones don't. So on one side, it doesn't have anything. And on the other side, I just put a little X, which means those are used. And these are good. These don't have anything on them. So, but these hold the micro SD cards too. And my favorite micro SD card, I just happen to have some right here, is the Samsung Pro Plus. And I use these in everything. So I have a ton of those, and I've never had any problem with those either. So maybe I've just been very fortunate. Neither one of these are expensive. So there's no reason why you shouldn't have a plethora. I have 2 of these cases that I think the other one's full. Because I don't always have the same camera bag with me. So, yeah. But, I don't know. That's just, it works. It flows well for me. So, that's just what I use. 300 would be even faster. So, Sammy, did you get the FX30 or is that a Christmas gift? Is it coming? Or do you already have it? Lewis says, Sly, you crushed my New York dreams. I always wanted to go. Well, Lewis, bud, if you like being in crowded places, New York is an amazing... They have an amazing array of different people. I don't like crowds. I also went to New Orleans, and it wasn't even like Mardi Gras or anything like that. I just went on a random, but I went into the French Quarter, which is like a tourist attraction, and got the same result. I did not like all the people. New York, they tend to like like you're not even there, right? I mean, they just like will be walking, just bump into you, and then this person bumps into you, and it just, yeah, I just didn't like that. In Oklahoma, we don't have that many people. Even in like Oklahoma City, which is our biggest city, we don't have that many people. So, and people know how to walk around other people. So you just don't get bustled about as much. But if you like being in crowded places, then you would probably like New York City. And there are people who hate the isolation of not having very many people. So they love being in New York City. So don't let me squelch your dreams on that, buddy, because you may like it to be a little bit more crowded than me, and it is definitely an experience. So I just didn't particularly care for the experience. Thank you very much. Roy's saying to Jeff, are you sure, like me, you try to be useless so the wife doesn't ask? Funny story. And I may be giving some secrets away, but that's okay. I made peanut butter cookies one night. And at the time I was married and didn't have any children. And so I take them in, and fresh, hot out of the oven, and I take one in and give it to my husband, who has to examine it. Now, he was actually a very good cook, but he couldn't bake to save his life. And so he's looking this cookie over for an abnormally long time. And I'm finally like, what? What's wrong with it? Well, he wanted to know how I got all the little squares on top of it. I'm like, seriously? I'm not going to tell you. It's going to be my little secret. And so I didn't tell him for 2 days. But you take a fork and you push it in one way, and you turn it 90 degrees, push it in another way, and it makes those perfectly little bitty squares on top of peanut butter cookies. Yeah, not really a big, but it amused me that he spent a couple of days trying to figure out how I did that. I mean, he's in the kitchen, he's looking through all my little baking gadgets and trying to figure out what has that design. Nothing. It's a fork, just you're done. Jim's talking to Lewis, saying it's still worth seeing, even if you only go once. I love New York City. See, that's what I'm saying. You have to experience everything at least once. The things you don't like, don't do them again. The things you do like, do them again. Right? But you're not going to know if you never experience it to start with. So, Jeff says, Sly, this week we saw a home all decked out. It was rated the top home in Australia. The lights can be seen in space, they said. So that's kind of like that Chevy Chase, what was it, the name of that movie? Peter would know. Where he has that lighting competition with the rest of the neighborhood. And I think they blew the grid or something. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I have not been to Rama this year. I have not been to the castle. Yeah, I probably should have done that tonight. Because it gets dark here so early now that you can go. I think they open the castle at like 6 o'clock, and it's completely 100% dark by 6. So you can do these light things like really early, and I think they shut off. I think they close them at 10, which gives you 4 hours a night. So, but I haven't gotten to do any of that this year yet. So I will next week. I'll be seeing some lights. Peter says, nah, Lewis, the Big Apple is not recommended. Try something like Las Vegas or someplace fun. So, Las Vegas has actually really, really changed too. Um, the first time I went to Las Vegas was about 42 years ago, and it was because I was young and from Oklahoma. I was kind of naive. It was scary. It was about, on a scale of 1 to 100, it was about a 60 for the scary. Okay, just because there was so many things that I had never seen before. Okay, um, I led kind of a sheltered life, so I had not been exposed to a lot of that. And now it's Katie bar the door. You got people walking up and down what they call the strip. Uh, some with clothes, some without clothes. Yeah. It just, Las Vegas has changed a lot in 40 years. But, um, but it is still fun. Yeah. Uh, and Lewis says, Jeff, we celebrate by waiting until midnight to open gifts. Okay. We spend the day with family, most likely eating, playing games, karaoke, and enjoying the time together. That's the key right there. It's not, the presents are like, they hardly take any time at all. Am I hearing things? Not really sure. Um, it takes like an hour. Christmas is really the time spent after, when you get to visit with your family and, like you said, spend the day playing games and that sort of thing. Sammy says, I live near New York and it's the best weather. It's the best. The weather is amazing. So, Sammy, I think you're more in the fast lane than what I am. I like it where it's kind of chill and laid back and not very crowded and all the things that New York City is not. So, but yes, I do think everybody should go and experience it at least once. And if you like it, go back for seconds. Lewis says, Sammy, you live near New York. You live near New York, and that's wonderful. And Jim, I still want to go at least once in my life. Yes, I hugely think you should. I think everybody should go. Like, when you're young, make a bucket list and then try to get everything on the bucket list done. And I do keep hearing something. I don't know what it is, but I do keep hearing something. And Jim is saying, Merry Christmas to Uncle G. I'm sure he's probably gaming, but he has been putting in some really, really long hours lately. And last night, I don't think he got home until after midnight from his job. So, and normally he's home way, way earlier than that. Peter says the Greeks make a wedding cookie. I think the wedding cookie is very much like that. See, I am still. Oh goodness, I am hearing things. I have a little friend that has come to say hello. My mom used to make them all the time. Just don't be breathing in when taking a bite, right? Because the powdered sugar just, yeah. You'll choke on the powdered sugar. Yeah. But they're delicious. Lewis says, are you still jumping out of bed in the morning, Sly, or no? No. No. Haven't jumped out of bed in years. My bed is up really, really high. And so I kind of roll out of bed and hope both feet hit the floor. I got to snuggle up with little man yesterday, and when I would get up out of bed, my feet actually touch the floor, right? While you're sitting on the bed. My bed is up so high that they don't. So you have to kind of slide down the mattress. And so, no, I don't jump out of bed anymore at all. Lewis says, honestly, it's not snowing here. It's raining every single day. What is up with this? We have had As long as he stays over there, I'm fine. We have had rain for, I swear, a solid month. It just keeps raining, keeps raining, keeps raining. So, thankfully, the temperatures have not gotten cold enough for it to be ice. That's kind of my fear, is that it's going to, I'm going to go to work and it's going to get cold enough to freeze, and then I have to drive home in ice. I don't like to drive home in ice. But, yeah, so far, knock on wood, it hasn't not done that yet. I'm hearing things. Roy says, does Amazon deliver snow? And they deliver artificial snow. Yes, they do. And it comes in a can. And you can spray it on like your windowsills and to make your house look like it has snowed. But no, they don't deliver real snow. Lewis says it's 5 degrees right now, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. That's probably pretty close to what it is here. But from what I understand, there is Arctic air on the way that obviously will be to you first. But it's supposed to get really, really cold the week after Christmas. So, Roy says Americans call chocolate candy, right? Yes. Yes. And they do make a sugar-free chocolate, but it is the caffeine, I think, in the chocolate that this person can't have. So, you know, it's okay. There is a lot of other candy, like said she likes gummy bears, and I asked about dots. I don't know if y'all have dots, but they're just a chewy, kind of a gummy type thing. And that's pretty, but you know, I think they're all made, well, I guess they don't have caffeine in them. So I think it's the caffeine that she can't tolerate. Lewis says, I will try to stay awake. That's okay, bud. Man, I get it. When it's time to recharge the batteries, sometimes you just gotta call it, right? Especially how I would do it. If Aiden was sleeping, I would be sleeping too. So, but yeah, that's perfect. Roy says leftovers in peace are the best part of Christmas. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Roy says there are many fake SanDisk SD cards even on Amazon. Yeah, I've always had really good luck with the SanDisk for my SD, but I really prefer the, yes, see, there is. I really prefer the Samsung for the micro SD. Sammy says, I was using the Extreme Pro, but I need even faster. I got the Lexar. That's the one Lewis likes. The Lexar CD. And spent $170. Okay. Well, I mean, if you know, I don't do anything that I need in that kind of speed for, right? All my videos I record in 1080. I don't even go to 4K yet. So I don't need anything that fast. But you got to get what you need, right? So, Roy says, I need to train a dog to find all my lost micro SD cards. There is that, you know, and they are kind of a pain because, like, SD cards are spring loaded when you put them in a reader, but because the micro SD cards are so much smaller, I don't think the spring is any stronger. That just because they're so much smaller, they just projectile through the room more. So, Sammy says, no, I got it for myself. Okay. Well, that's cool. So what are you getting for Christmas? What did you ask for? I mean, that's kind of like the climax right there. So what would you ask for? It would have to be, I don't know. Let me know. Let me know what you asked for, Sammy. Roy says, in New York City, rude is the primary sport. Yes, that's kind of, and you know, I always try to see the best in people, but sometimes that's hard. Uh, when you're consistently not treated very well, it's hard to see the good in, to consistently still see the good in people. And number one, I was very young. I was probably Sammy's age, and I was in a strange. It almost felt like a foreign country, right? Um, and so, yeah, it kind of unnerved me a little bit. I would probably do better now, but I would not want to go on my own. So, okay, we're gonna have to set out a trap or something because this little guy is getting very bold. Jim is talking to Sammy, saying, Sammy Superstar, I bought some really expensive SD cards for my A7 IV, but realized that since I use the camera almost exclusively for photography, I overbought, right? Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to get caught up in specs, and but when you find something that works, now Sammy is doing, you know, kind of next level stuff from anything that I do. So um, he obviously would need a little bit bigger and better equipment. Like, there is no food up here. I don't know what they're doing. Roy says, I found India more crowded, but still very respectful. I've got some wonderful friends from India, and they are like, like their whole persona, their whole demeanor is about respect. So I think there are, I think China is the same way. There's some of the big cities in China. The people are very respectful. And New York City, no, not so much. Which is why most of the world thinks Americans are very rude. They base it off, excuse me, the Americans that live in the big cities. Jim saying, city boy. Yeah. See, I'm more of a country girl. I feel completely at home in the woods and not so much in the cities. So, Sammy says the SD cards were 300 plus, but 150 on sale. Wow. Yeah, I'll stay with my 1080, my little, because the micro SD cards are like on sale about 11 or 12 bucks. And the SD cards, I think, are about 18. So, Uncle G says it's funny that you're better at baking and Dad is better at cooking because baking is following recipes closely. Cooking is kind of winging it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I've tried cooking. We all know how that goes, not so well. But, you know, I used to be a pretty fair baker. Lewis says, you're right. You won't know if you don't try, so enjoy life. That's right. And if you like it, do it twice. Jim is talking to Sammy saying that's a deal. I bought mine at $250, but again, way overkill for photography. Yeah, well, you know, I guess you don't know until you do it, maybe. Because if you hadn't done that, Jim, would you always be thinking that you needed to do it? You know, if you had bought a cheaper card, would you always be thinking that you needed that more expensive one? Or would you have discovered that you didn't? Jeff says, that's it, Roy. I do not want to take her joy. That's it. Yeah. I do not want to take her joy away. Well, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. All I need to know is how to open the Chever's Regal Blue. Sit back and enjoy. I have a feeling that's a drink. I don't know what that is, but I think it's a drink. Jeff says, I think it was Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito. That's what I thought when I saw it. Chevy Chase came out with one. And I cannot remember for the life of me what the name of it was. Roy says, and it's been years ago, like 20 years ago. Roy says the two reasons to visit New York City, Adorama and B&H. That's right. Yeah, there are some places that you would kind of like to go, but they have online shopping now, so it's not like it used to be. You don't have to go and have that experience because they have online shopping now. Jeff says, that's so nice, Louis. We are not allowed to open the gifts till after breakfast with all the family, but it's about family and love and hearing how others celebrate. So we do gifts first and then have breakfast because that's just, the kids, it's all about the kids, and the kids are so excited. Could you imagine trying to make a kid wait until after they ate breakfast? It probably wouldn't happen with my kids when they were little. So little man has done extremely well not getting into the presents that his mother put out ahead of time. He did figure out that some of them have his name on them, and so but she said you have to wait until Christmas, and so he's been doing very, very well with that. Roy says, Sly in bunk beds. When we went to that Great Wolf Lodge, we got a room that had bunk beds. I did not even attempt to get in that top bunk. I think I probably could have gotten in it, but getting back out again and trying to find that little bitty ladder, because it was like, it wasn't at an angle, it was attached to the lower bunk, so it was straight up and down. So I think I could have climbed in it, but getting back out again, yeah. So I just saved everybody the embarrassment and did not even attempt it. Scott's here. Merry Christmas. Hey, Scott. Glad you made it, bud. And Sammy says, I'm 30 minutes away from B&H in Adorama. That's, yeah. I would probably be there a lot if I was that close. So I think it's like anywhere else. You have your neighborhood, the places that you go, and once you start going a lot, you get more comfortable with going there. But it hasn't been raining, only cold weather right now. Yeah, it's been raining here so much, and it hasn't been like horribly, horribly cold. It gets to about 60 at night, and then it gets down in about the 30s. Sorry, 60 during the day and 30s at night. But the rain just keeps coming. And it's just like, I was in Tulsa today, dry as a bone, overcast all day, but dry as a bone. And then before I could even get home, I got poured on. So, yeah, it is what it is. Sorry, Sly, and all for the spelling mistakes. I have a tiny screen and I cannot see clearly, but I hope you can work out what I'm saying. Absolutely. Yes. And if I can't, then I'll just, back up and punt. But yes, I can figure it out. And I completely understand because I cannot type on my phone without my glasses. So, there's that. I really am going to have to break down and go in and get actual glasses. So, I've worn contacts since I was like 12, and for years I haven't worn anything, and I have reading glasses all over my house. You get them at the Dollar Tree. They used to be $1. Now they're $1.25. But because I can still see pretty good, like far away, it's just up close and personal that I have trouble reading stuff. So Roy says a snow-covered house would look very strange here. Yes, I imagine it would. I'm thinking, like, you guys see movies that supposedly are made in the States. Um, well, we see movies that are supposedly made in Australia. Now, whether they really are or not is, because a lot of our spaghetti westerns were made, I believe, in Spain. So, but they're portrayed as being, in the States. Uh, but the one that springs to mind is Crocodile Dundee, and yeah, snow would have looked very out of place. Now, I don't know if that was actually shot in Australia, but it was purported to be. Roy says it's 45 degrees Celsius here last week. Yeah, I would be basking in some of that sunlight. I would be out on the river in the kayak, uh, living it up. So I'm thinking Christmas in July it would be not be a bad thing. Sammy says it was 50 today outside, so not so bad. Yeah, I think we actually got up to 60, and which was t-shirt and jacket weather, so not too bad. Sammy says it's not the weather in Florida. No, it's not. But then we don't have hurricanes either, so yeah, it's all give and take. All give and take. Roy says a life without caffeine is unimaginable. Yeah. Well, last year, I think it was last year, um, we had someone that had celiac disease, and apparently they can't eat hardly anything, and so that was an experiment in being deprived. Yeah. I'm extremely grateful that I'm healthy and can pretty much eat anything I want to. So, but yeah, I can't imagine. I've always said if I became diabetic, you might as well just kill me now, because I just don't like to think about, ooh, can I eat that? Should I not eat that? So now I will say, as I've gotten older, I do not tolerate vegetable oil. And so that's fine. I just use something else. It really hasn't slowed me down at all. I just noticed that when one of my favorite side dishes is fried potatoes and onions, made the southern way, and I noticed every time I would eat it, I would get sharp abdominal pains and get sick, and so I thought, well, maybe it's the potatoes, maybe it's the onions. No, it's the vegetable oil. So I started cooking them in lard. Don't have any problems at all. So I don't make them that often because they're kind of time consuming to make. But when I do, they're delicious. They're absolutely delicious. Roy says I'm always awake except when I'm not, right? So apparently my cardio something is out of kilter, that my body doesn't know when I'm supposed to sleep and when I'm supposed to be awake. So I have found that I just, instead of fighting it and making myself stay in bed for 8 hours, if I wake up, I just get up and do something, and if I'm tired, I lay down and take a nap. And it seems to work well. Jeff says, far out, Roy, that's so hot. Gee, it was 38 here and I thought it was hot. It would be the air conditioning for me at that heat. I can't even imagine needing air conditioning. I am so looking forward to that again. And it really, we are just on the cusp of this winter weather, because typically our winter, our two worst months are January and February. So December is as a rule, just the tip of the iceberg, as they say. It gets worse before it gets better. So, yeah, I may have, well, there's no may to it. I will be probably moving in with my son in the next week or so. Sammy says my SD cards were too slow. That 4K wasn't working well with the FX430. So, yeah, that's see, you have a need for better gear than what I have. I don't do 4K. I don't like the file size, to be honest with you. I accidentally recorded in 4K one time, and I had two cameras running, and the other camera was in 1080. And when I uploaded the files, the 4K was like, I think it was like 6 times uh, as long, and the camera would make a new file every 15 minutes. Where on the 1080, it only made a new file if I turned the camera off and then back on. So that's why there were so many more files on the 4K version. So I'm perfectly content with 1080. It's fine. But Sammy, you're doing, far and above what I'm doing. So Sammy says this year is Secret Santa. So I will see, but I think I know what I got. That's always so much fun. I love kind of guessing. We have a thing here called Dirty Santa, which my family's so small we don't need to do that. But some of the really large families, they draw names, or they'll. So Dirty Santa, like the last Christmas party I went to, we had 12 or 13 people, and so you draw. We must have had 12, and they put dominoes in a sack, and so you draw a domino, and the first person gets to pick a gift, obviously, start things off, and then you can steal that gift up to 3 times. The third time it's stolen, it's frozen. Okay, and if you steal somebody's gift, then that person gets to go pick another gift, and the next person can steal whichever, or they can go pick a completely new gift. So it's a lot of fun. It's fun to see these people they really want the gift they have. They don't want it to be stolen. So they'll kind of try to hide it, make it really small so nobody really notices it. But it's kind of a hoot. Yeah. Lewis says, thank you for the love and Merry Christmas, Sly. I love you. Love you too, bud. Thanks so much for coming in. And I want to thank all of you guys. And I mean all of you guys. I don't even know how many thumbs up we've got. We've got 9. Guys, thank you so very much. You guys have way exceeded my expectations. I'm just, I hate to say it, but a little old lady from Oklahoma. And to have your guys' support, week after week after week, it means so much to me. So I know we're supposed to be thankful at Thanksgiving, and that's fine, but I'm just so thankful all the time for you guys, because you guys make my Friday night. I don't get to really watch Peter's show anymore because I'm setting up for mine, but I listen to it. It's playing in the background, and so when I retire, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later, we may change nights or something. But right now, Friday night works the best. I just really miss getting to interact with Peter on his show. So, but I'm so grateful that y'all come over here and hang out with me for a little bit. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are a blessing. Okay, I'm done being sappy. Jeff says, hey Sammy, how do you and your family celebrate Christmas Eve and Christmas Day? As a young man with your family, what things would you say is memorable? And Roy's saying, cheap memory cards are too big a risk. What is your work worth? Right? Yeah, that's... Roy, I can't tell you how many times, a lot, I have made videos, and my first digital camera was the 90D, and I honestly believe it was just a bad camera. I I just think I got a bad one. I don't think the 90D as a whole is a bad camera. I think I just got a bad one. And I would lose audio. I'd record a whole video and find that I didn't have audio. Sometimes it was user error. Sometimes I think it was the camera. I had one video where I think the camera just inadvertently shut off. I had memory card issues where I lost half of Christmas because, and it wasn't the memory card. The memory card was fine. It was the camera. Wouldn't record to the memory card. So, you know, at about the same time I bought the 80D, and it performed flawlessly. Never ever had a problem with it. So, you know, it just, you can get a bad camera. So, Roy says, Gross in London is on my bucket list. Yes. So as a young man, Gray's in London. So as a young man, Sammy and Lewis, you need to make a bucket list of all the things you want to do, of all the places you want to see and go do, and now. And then as you get older, check those things off as you get to do them. I hugely want to go to England and see the castle ruins, right? I've got a friend who lives right in the middle of England, and she says, you know, come and spend 5 or 6 days, and that we would go like north one day, west one day, south one day, and east one day, and see the ruins in whatever that direction is. And because she's right, England's very small, and because she's right in the center, you can go all the way to the coast. It's just a couple hour drive, right? So that is on my bucket list to do that. So I would love to take an Alaskan cruise. You know, I've got some stuff on my bucket list still yet, but for the most part, if I want to just, my favorite thing is just getting in my truck and going. And, you know, now I've got a little sidekick that goes with me places. And as he gets bigger, we're just going to go more and more. So, yeah, he's a lot of fun to travel with. Jeff says, Sly and all, you in the United States, do you buy a real tree fresh cut pine or do you buy a store tree? So when my children were like babies, little, we bought trees that you plant. And so they come, you know, wrapped in this big burlap ball, and you have them in like a planter filled with dirt, like for a week or two before Christmas, and decorate them. And then after Christmas, you have to go and dig this hole and plant this big tree. And they're not, when I say big tree, they're not, you know, they're maybe 6 feet tall. They're not like huge, because you couldn't get them in your house if they were much bigger. And so the house that we lived in then, I believe there's 6 or 7 trees along the back fence of the property that were our Christmas trees at one time, and now they're, you know, my son is 30, so some of those trees are 30 years old plus. Because we started doing that before the kids were born. But on the cut trees, they spray them with something that I'm allergic to, and it gives me a terrific headache. So I either have to do a live tree or an artificial tree. So we just, after we moved and the live trees became impractical, we just have done an artificial tree. And now nobody comes down here. So now that's my tree right there. Which I guess Peter didn't do the picture thing. It just now dawned on me. He had asked everybody for pictures, and I guess he didn't do that. So, um, which I kind of forgot to send my picture in. So, but that's my tree. Yeah. So, Sammy says, "Oh, I just noticed that you're playing Peter's the House of the Silent Night. That's my favorite." So I'm actually playing the whole CD. It's just intermixed because it's playing random. So it's just intermixed with my regular music. So, Jeff, we usually have different people from family and friends. Most of the people are Jewish because I'm half Christian and half Jewish. My mom's side is Christian, my dad's side is Jewish. So that's cool. You get to celebrate both, right? That's actually the more the merrier. So basically, I do all the holidays. Yeah, that's cool. Sly says, or Jim says, Sly, how far are you from Black Mesa State Park? I don't know where that is. Um, is that in Oklahoma? So Jim, I don't know. If if it's in Oklahoma and you have the name of a town that it's by, I probably could zero in on it more. Unless you live right by like the Wichita National Forest, I know where that is because I live pretty close to it. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know where that is. Let me see. Hey Siri, where is Black Mesa State Park? Uh, I gotta tell me. That is so annoying. Oh, Cimarron County. Okay. Um, so I am. Cimarron County is probably 2 hours from here. Um, if it's that's all it's going to tell me is Cimarron County. So that is, I believe. Well, no, you know what? I think Cimarron is in the Panhandle, actually. And of course, it doesn't give me a picture. Let's see if I can zoom out. Um, I want a picture. Oh, is that on the border? Yep. Okay. So that is, okay. That's a long way away. So Oklahoma looks like they actually call it a panhandle because it looks like it's actually a pot and not a pan. But the western part of the state is basically the handle of the pot, and the Black Mesa is almost to Colorado. So I am at the complete opposite end of the state. So it's probably 6 hours away. Yeah, I'm in what they call green country because it rains all the time. Yeah. Sammy Superstar, as long as you don't go to war with yourself. No, I think Sammy is more on the peaceful front of that conflict. Sammy says, I saw a B&H that didn't have my name on it, so that means something. I saw a B&H that didn't have my name on it, so that means something. Is your name on all the B&Hs? And he's laughing at Roy. Scott says, yes, wearing my tree glasses right now, too. That is so cool. So I had some people looking for these, the 3D glasses that you put on. Well, they make them for Christmas time to where when you put them on, the lights look like Santa Clauses or snowmen or whatever, and they just kind of dance around. They're actually really cool, and they're like $2 or something. But yeah, that's cool that you got your tree glasses on. Lewis says, yeah, I don't think I'd enjoy having to deal with insulin. No. And being told what you can and can't eat. No. Jeff says, Merry Christmas, Scott, to you and the family. Where you live, how does the family celebrate Christmas? Traditions do you, what traditions do you, what do? Love hearing how others celebrate. Yeah, that's just kind of what the topic is tonight. Was I thought we would just, just hang out and let me know how the rest of the world celebrates Christmas. So Scott's got some daughters, and his mom is still around. So uh, things were a lot different when my mom was still alive. Roy says, I hope SD cards become a thing of the past with the next generation of cameras. I think, I've never had one, so I don't know, but I think I would really like that CF card, just because it's bigger. But, you know. Scott said, did you say you were moving from your current place? So, I think you guys know by now about the heater issue that I've been having. This house, I'm not sure is really worth putting money into it. So, plus, I'm about 45 minutes from my kids and my friends and everything. And I moved down here for a job 10 years ago. So 10 years is about as long as I live anywhere. And then I start getting the itch to move, and I'm there. So we are actively looking for a place for me to go that's up there. But if it's going to get like really cold within the next week and a half, obviously I'm not going to have found a place that quickly. So I will go stay with my son. Yes. Who has heat? Jess says, wow, that's interesting. Sammy is my wife, and her family are Jewish, so like your side, they would also celebrate Hanukkah as well as Christmas. This is a very special time for us as well. That's so cool. Yeah. It's just, instead of warring between your Christian and Jewish self, just embrace both sides. You get the best of both worlds. So, Sammy says, what happens is that my parents, my brother and I celebrate Hanukkah, but this year it was a little crazy since a lot of things are going on, but Christmas is when a lot of people are over. Yeah, so that's cool. Roy says, always turn off and wait before swapping memory cards, less corruption, right? Yeah, I don't even, in these two cameras, I don't know if that one has one or not, but I know in these two cameras, I don't even have memory cards in them. They don't need them, so. Lewis says, bucket list is a great idea. Every once in a while, I like a blind squirrel, man. Lewis says, Sly, is there any regrets that you have or something you wish you did but didn't get to do? Well, I'm not dead yet, so I can't really think of anything that, I mean, I still have things on my bucket list, so I haven't gotten to do them yet, but I'm still kicking, so there's always, that possibility. I do hope I get to England before I get too old to enjoy it, but I like seeing new places, and if they're not, really, really crowded. So, yeah. Sammy says, I started a bucket list, and none of the things on the list, and one of the things on the list is to get an Airy Alexa camera. Okay, I don't know what that is, Sammy. An Airy Alexa. It almost, the way you spelled it, it almost looks like a pirate. And when I read that in my mind went, Alexa. A little Johnny Depp going on in my head. Yeah, that's funny. Roy says, decapitated trees are too messy. Yeah, it's the pine needles come off, and I just, when I was growing up, occasionally we would have a flocked tree. Ooh. I don't care for those at all. And then when my mother discovered artificial, she never went back. So, and when my mother was alive, the putting up of the tree was an event. You know, you went over, you spent the day putting the tree up and all the Christmas decorations and transforming the house into Christmas. And then you stayed for supper, um, because it was an all day event. So, and she would have, I'm one of three, and she would have us, all of us, decorating. So, I usually got in charge of lights and swag. Yeah. My brothers got to hang the ornaments, but I was in charge of wrapping the lights around and around and around, and then draping the swag. And if you didn't drape it just right, you heard about it, right? Had to be just right, very even. But she, in the end, she did have a pretty tree. I will say that. Lewis says, Slide, what do you wish you did but didn't do yet and do in 2024? Retire. That's, I'm thinking 2024 is my year, baby. I'm going to retire, and I'm actively checking things out, and the only thing holding me back right now is health insurance. So once I get that figured out, yeah. And because I want to spend more time with my grandson, I want to spend more time doing the things I enjoy doing. And I don't want to wait until I'm too old to do them. Jeff says, sit the... okay, I think Chivas Regal Blue is whiskey. Okay, 18-year-old whiskey. It's expensive, but my son bought it for me 3 years before I had it, as I do not drink. But this one is beautiful with a meal. So, yeah, I have 2 bottles of caramel Crown Royal, which is wonderful. It's I've tried it, and it's delicious, but I don't drink as a rule. I'm not like a teetotaler, and I'm not against drinking. I don't like the taste of most of the stuff. I do like rum and cherry vanilla Pepsi. Go figure. But I just don't ever think to make it. I have everything here to make it, but I just I just don't think to do it. So, yeah. I don't know. I had this wild hair at one point that I would have people over that did drink, and I wanted to be able to be a good hostess. And so I had my son, who was bartending at the time, go down to the liquor store with me, and we bought like $300 worth of alcohol. And so I had whatever my bartender son thought I should have. And it has sat there for all this time. So I think when he stayed with me at one point, I think he drank most of it. But, and so for I think 2 Christmases in a row, I got a pretty good sized bottle of that caramel Crown Royal, but I've never opened it. I don't drink. So, Black Mesa State Park, Kenton, Oklahoma, Dark Sky Park for astrophotography. So, yeah, Jim, when you get out in pretty much anywhere away from Tulsa or Oklahoma City, the stars become amazing. Like, we lived, I raised my kids on a mountain that was about an hour south of Tulsa, and because we were up fairly high, you literally could see the lights of Tulsa, but you could also see the stars. And like where I'm at now, I'm in a very small town, but you can't see the stars in the sky. So there's too much light on the ground. So yeah, that's the further out you get away from Oklahoma City, the the brighter the sky gets at night, and it would be great for astrophotography. Roy says, "I love Google Earth." Right? Yeah, I have. Before Little Man and I go somewhere, I will GI Joe where we're going in the area, so that I feel comfortable knowing, number one, where I'm going, and number two, is it somewhere we need to be going? Uh, because we went to St. Louis, and part of St. Louis is pretty rough. And so I kind of Google Earthed it to make sure that, we weren't staying uh, in a bad area. So, I mean, it's not foolproof by any means. I went to Austin for a wedding and thought I was staying in a good area. My first indication when I went in to check into the hotel, there was a sign on the door that says armed guard on duty. And I stayed at that hotel 2 days and never saw another female. It was not in. I mean, it was fine. Nothing happened to me, but it was not in a good area. I found out after the fact. So, when I book these trips, I really try to. I use AAA, and I really try to stay in places that have been recommended by other people. And this place was recommended, but I would not recommend it, especially for like families. It was a little on the scary side, but I wasn't at the hotel very much. I was, I went down for a wedding, and so I was doing, wedding stuff, and so it was okay. But I would not want to take Little Man there. So Jeff says, I meant to say it's an 18-year-old whiskey. Isn't that what I said? 18-year-old whiskey. Yeah. Okay. So as I understand it, there is Irish whiskey and non-Irish. Everything else is non-Irish whiskey. One of them has an EY and one of them just has a Y, and it's how they are aged. Now, I read a book on it one time, way back when, and that's the whole thing I gleaned from the whole book was there's two different types of whiskey. Jeff says, Jim, what about you? What is your family traditions for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day? What are the most memorable? Yes, Jim. Inquiring minds want to know. It's probably almost Jim's bedtime, if he's still up. Sammy says, it's official, the morning for you. Oh, it is. Oh my, we've almost gone 2 hours. Wow. See, I really enjoy your guys' company. Scott says, Christmas with my family here in Michigan as an empty nester are pretty traditional. Christmas Day will be with my daughter's family, gifts and luncheon. Yep. Scott says, gosh, I wish I could help you move, Sly. Yeah, I will be hiring movers. I will never move again. I will be hiring it done. I may move like the cameras and the computers and, stuff that I don't want the movers to break. But no, I'm hired help to move furniture and the big stuff. I am not doing that again. Now, I will pack it. I don't have a problem packing it. But I've got way, way, way too much stuff to be moving. And the last time I moved, I had my children and their friends. There was probably about 8 people that helped me move. And it was it was not a fun experience. And I don't like moving. I don't like buying new cars either. You know, for me, that's just not a fun experience. I like driving new cars and I like living in a new place, but the actual process of that, I get zero enjoyment out of. So, no, I'm going to pay someone to move me. I'm not doing it. Uh, Jim is talking to Jeff. Church Christmas Eve. Presents after we get home. Then Christmas Day, head out to one of the family homes for Christmas Day. I now live close to the family in Virginia, so no travel. Yeah, I'm going up Christmas Eve, Sunday night, and going to spend the night with my son. I've got to run some friends to the airport Christmas Day, and then we'll head over to my daughter's and do the presents and breakfast at her house. And then my son likes to go home and take an afternoon nap, and then he'll have Christmas dinner at his house. So they only live like 10 minutes apart. So not a lot of travel. Roy says Arri is a premium video camera. Okay, that's cool. One of the young fellows that does the ghost hunting, he has gone back to using a video camera instead of a camera on video. He actually uses a video camera, and his pictures look really good. I think he shoots in 4K. I'm not 100% sure. Scott says, I hope to do a little travel abroad while I can still get around. At 62, I'm not nearly as spry as 10 years ago, right? Yeah, it kind of sneaks up on you. But you have a new knee, so you should be getting some of your mobility back. But yeah, I feel you. I feel like I was a lot, I don't know, I felt a lot younger at 52 than 62. Well, I'm not quite 62 yet, but I'm close. Sammy says it's one of the best colors on a camera. Okay, that's cool. Sammy, you have, what do they say? The world is your oyster. Yeah, dude, you don't even realize it because you're living the life, but you've got your whole life ahead of you, and it is so cool to think about that. You know, I look at my kids, even who are 10 years older than you, and my grandson. I think how incredibly lucky you guys are that when you're that age, you don't realize it, and probably thank goodness, because you know, I think you would not be humbled if you realized what a gift you have in front of you. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. So enjoy. Jeff says it's the same here, Sammy. My wife's family, right here where it's going on. So this year has been a lot on the family going. We can only pray they will be okay, as my wife's niece and nephew are called up. Called up? My wife's niece and nephew. Called up to what? That sounds ominous, Jeff. Lewis says, Sly, I thought you already retired. You look so relaxed. Got you fooled, buddy. Not teasing. Yeah, no, I am relaxed until I've been at work for about 10 minutes. Yeah. Lewis says vanilla Pepsi with real vanilla extract would be nice. Sly. I don't know that they put real vanilla in it. It's just they came out for a very, very brief time with cherry vanilla Pepsi, and it was the bomb diggity. But they didn't make it for very long, and so now they just make either cherry Pepsi or vanilla Pepsi, but they don't combine them. So Jim says, I'll come to Oklahoma and pick up the caramel crown roll from you. You're welcome to it, bud. Um, it actually, like I said, I've tried it and I really liked it. I just I don't drink as a rule, so I don't know. It just sits in there. Uh, does it age? Because if it ages, it's. I'm gonna say that's what it's doing. It's sitting in there aging. Scott says I have a good bit of liquor in my cabinet, but also don't drink to speak of. Outgrew it years ago, right? I guess I keep the large variety of booze in case guests drop in. That was 100% exactly what I wanted. Um, when my mother passed away, I brought her. I think they call it a sidebar, side buffet maybe, but she used it as a liquor cabinet, and so I got that and I brought it down. I've got all her formal dining room stuff, and so I set up this, like, this house has a formal dining room, and so I set it up just like she had hers in her house, and so I wanted that to be my liquor cabinet. But now my mother was from the era where you have a drink before dinner every night, just one, and her flavor of choice was screwdrivers. Um, I don't think she really cared for the alcohol either, but that's just, back in the 40s and 50s, that's just what you did. You had a drink before dinner. And so she, had a liquor cabinet that was actually, they used it. Now, mine, it just sits there. So, all right. Sammy says, I'm going to get some sleep soon since it's already 1 a.m. Yes, Sammy, thank you so much for coming in. I really, really appreciate it. Um, and I look forward to seeing your next movie. So good night, Sammy. Thank you. Um, did Alex go live tonight? I know he said on Peter's he was going to. Jeff says this year I'm going to try and mix the is it Chevis? Am I saying that right? With eggnog to see what it's like, as I've never had eggnog before, and was told with whiskey it's nice. My wife loves liquor, so it's interesting because women usually like wine. They don't usually drink like rum and coke or whiskey, or they usually go for more of the wine. But wine gives me a headache, so yeah, go figure. Um, and I'm not big on eggnog. I think it tastes like custard, and I'm not big on custard. Now, I will obviously. I mean, if somebody has custard for dessert, obviously I'll eat it. But it's not one of my favorites, and eggnog to me tastes like custard. So Roy says spelling whiskey depends on whether it's Irish or Scotch. That's what I remember. See, Roy, you remember details. I just remember little bits and pieces. Yeah. Lewis says, Scott, travel while you still can. It gets harder when you're in a wheelchair like my grandma. Yes. Yes. And I think, you know, I want to stay mobile for as long as I can, because I do like to get out and about and walk through the woods and go on hikes. And, I do like that sort of stuff. So, yeah. Jeff saying, night, Sammy. You and your family have a safe and blessed Christmas. Chat with you next year. My thoughts are with you and the family in Israel. Oh, okay. Uh, Maybe that's what you meant by called up. Sly was saying to Sammy that my wife's family who live in Israel are very close to fighting, and the niece and nephew have been called up to serve in the IDS in Israel. Ooh, that's scary. That's very scary. Um, you don't think it touches you at home, but it does. So, uh, yes, I will keep them in my prayers. Scott says there was talk of offering cinnamon coke. Never found it. Yes, I did. It's awful. Also, I saw available in the South fruit punch flavored dill pickles. Wanted to try those. The cinnamon coke, it smells delicious, and it tastes horrific. In fact, I have a whole case because I drank one. So there's a whole box in there. The fruit punch flavored dill pickles. Now, I have not tried those. Fruit punch flavored dill pickles. I don't know that I would. I love dill pickles, but I don't know if I would like fruit punch flavored pickles. Scott says I get a headache from wine too. Yeah, I just that in case and there's a word for it and I can't think of what it is right now, but yeah, I don't. One of the reasons I don't drink is if you try to drink whiskey or bourbon or whatever straight, it kind of burns your throat, and I don't like that, so I don't do it. If it gives me a headache, I just won't do it. So if I don't like the taste of something, I don't eat it. I'm very much a live in the moment. It's not about if it's healthy for you or not healthy for you, or that really doesn't have any consideration whatsoever. It's all about, do I like it? And thankfully, I like enough stuff that is actually supposed to be good for me that I stay pretty healthy. So, but I did have little man just like right in my face, coughing, and so yeah. So I've kind of got the waterworks going. Lewis, are you getting your girlfriend a diamond this Christmas? Well, I think they got engaged. I think. I thought they got married, and he corrected me and said no, they got engaged. So I think he has already gotten her a diamond, maybe. So the question would be, when are you putting the band on the diamond? But he's still young. He's only like, I think, what are you, Lewis? 32 maybe? 30, 32, something like that. So he's still got loads of time. But guys, we have gone 2 hours. So I am going to sign off. Everybody have a marvelous, fantastic, I hope your Christmas day is everything you want it to be. And I will be on next Friday. So that's before New Year's Eve. Like New Year's Eve is what? Sunday? That Sunday. So I want to hear what everybody got for Christmas. So be prepared. And I hope everybody has a fantastic Christmas. Enjoy your family. You know, if somebody tries to get sideways, just let them slide down that path alone, right? And I will see you guys next Friday. Just getting a whole bunch of these in. Oh, he says yes, he is. Scott, how did you know? We're friends on Facebook. Yep. Lewis saying love you. Merry Christmas to all. Jim says this was fun. Merry Christmas, Sly and everyone. Man, Jim, you stayed up late. Thank you for hanging out. Lewis says love you, Scott. Jeff says the Cheviz Blue is a very smooth drop. You do not get the afterburn like you do with other whiskeys. But my wife loves liqueurs. Lewis is saying Merry Christmas, everyone. And Scott's saying thank you, Lewis. God bless all. And Jeff is saying stay safe. I'll catch up with you next year. All right. Good night, everybody. Love you all. Merry Christmas.
Lay down